Welcome back to the show. This week I tried a simpler pick. It's not a game we owned as far as I can recall, but it is one we definitely played at length, and I think every one of our friends might have had this game. Jackal is not a complicated game by any stretch of the imagination, but it didn't have to be. Ride a jeep, blow shit up, and get POWs to a chopper. That's pretty much it. Those are the three fundamental aspects of this game, and that's pretty great. Sometimes it's nice just to play a game that has zero learning curve, just pick up and play and have a great old time doing it. But despite all that, there is still somewhat of a plot in place, the proverbial glue as it were, holding Jackal together, which in actuality just serves as an excuse to blow shit up. Your brothers in arms are hostages behind enemy lines, and you're their only hope for freedom. But the firepower you'll face to rescue them is awesome. Cannons, tanks, submarines, and snipers will blast you with horrific crossfire, while jet fighters zero in from above. To defend yourself, you control the army's advanced all-terrain attack jeep with its arsenal of guided missiles and incendiary grenades. I think given the relentless nature of the enemies in this game, I'd have preferred the army's advanced fucking tanks. Give me tanks, please. Of course, these are merely tools, and to save your countrymen, you'll need more than a handful of gunpowder. You'll need a pocket full of miracles and the ferocity of a wild jackal. Or the awesome power of a bear, so a tank. Miracles are not required here. Can they not see how exposed one is in these jeeps with a machine gun that doesn't even fucking swivel? Yeah, I'll take a tank, thanks. Further to that, the blurb omits the fact that its namesake refers to the Jackal unit, consisting of 4 elite soldiers. They all have wildly specific names, as if they're meant to convey some sort of insight into their personalities and motivations. Fuck man, I don't know, it just seemed a little out of place, you know? Because as soon as this character introduction is done, that's the last you'll see of them in this capacity, until the very brief end. Basically, the 4 are split into 2 jeep teams tasked with rescuing and extracting POWs, a convenient excuse for simultaneous co-op mayhem. Like many NES titles, Jackal is a port and was released 2 years after the arcade version, and there are numerous differences between the two. The NES version used a horizontal orientation and was broken up into 6 levels, whereas its arcade counterpart used a vertical arcade system and the game took place on one continuous level. Throughout each level there are prisoners to rescue, the goal being to get them to an extraction helicopter. I can recall one moment where instead of prisoners running out of the buildings, it was a tank. It's just a bit odd that this seemed to be such an isolated encounter. Why not keep the player on their toes by increasing the frequency of these encounters? Otherwise, why did the devs even bother doing this in the first place? Moving along, your jeep has 2 main forms of attack, a machine gun turret that always shoots northward, and a grenade launcher that can fire towards the direction the jeep is facing. Using the former can be pretty awkward, and I found that a lot of the time it was just easier to drive over and crush the enemy soldiers rather than trying to position the jeep fucking northward every time I just want to shoot the goddamn machine gun. Thankfully, the grenade launcher doesn't have this handicap, and it has the benefit of being upgraded to a missile launcher, which can then be upgraded to shoot further and improved 2 times further still to fire shrapnel rounds that spreads over 2 or 4 directions. As neither weapon ever runs out of ammo, missiles are the way to go, as they can destroy most enemies in a single shot, so there's no real incentive to be dicking around with a piss-poor machine gun that for whatever reason couldn't be built on a swivel. And speaking of one shot, that's exactly how many it'll take to explode your fucking jeep. Of course, this wouldn't happen with, you know, a tank. Good sir, 1 tank please. So in your little jeepy jeep, you'll face off against various foes such as infantry, turrets, fucking annoying helicopters, and of course tanks. In fact, not only will you find them waiting for you throughout the levels, tanks make up the first boss battle, and this giant glorious bastard is the final boss battle. And speaking of last boss battles, just listen to the fantastic start to this track as the tank rips out of the building. Or perhaps it explodes out of the building. Whichever, it doesn't matter. Listen to that. Jackal's difficulty, for the most part, is moderately consistent, so yes, while there are a few sections that will certainly make you want to scream, overall it's a rather casual pick up and play gaming experience, consisting of non-stop vehicular carnage from start to finish, and one that can be completed in a single sitting. In terms of negatives, the level tracks are pretty unforgettable, definitely not the best the NES has to offer, and the visuals are nothing to write home about. Thankfully though, a pleasant gameplay experience more than makes up for these deficits, but if you are looking for a more visually impressive experience, then check out the arcade version, it's a lot of fun too. We've definitely seen better games on the NES, so while not being perfect, Jackal is a good if somewhat flawed game for the NES. I did enjoy playing it again, but I don't think it's a game that I'll play anytime again soon. Well, that's it for this week. If you enjoyed this week's episode, then please give it a like, comment, and subscribe. It really does help. Until next time, keep playing retro.